Folks, welcome back to the channel. It's Matthew with BDM Equipment, and today we are discussing the 2023 AGT NT30 two-ton class mini excavator. Does a lot of great work out there, gets rented out very frequently. A wonderful machine for doing hydrants, for doing drainage work, French drains up around the house, for doing minor grading and excavating. Does fantastic. Some of the big features, dimensions on this machine: weighs 2.1 kilograms, so it comes in about 4,700 pounds. 9-inch tracks. Total width, track width and blade width, we're looking at 53 inches. And total height for clearance issues, you have 7 foot, just under 7 foot 6 inches if you need to get this inside, say, a barn for digging out hydrants or doing any other type of dirt work in a tight space. And does not have the zero tail swing, but it does have wonderful counterbalance. So for a smaller machine, you're not going to get quite as tippy as you would with a lot of the other machines that are out there. But unlike the Yanmar machine, where the house will actually clear the inside of the track, this machine does hang out a little bit further. So just something to keep in mind. With that, you've got the stick, a little over 3 foot stick. And the boom, you get a digging depth of about 7 feet. I believe it'll do just a little bit deeper than 7 feet. And then the standard bucket that we rent out with this guy is a 16-inch tooth bucket. And we do have the hydraulic thumb. There are some additional auxiliary ports, but generally don't have a lot of other implements that we're renting out with this, just based on the nature of those implements. You can ask about them. We do have an auger setup and some other bucket setups, but generally this machine is going out with the 16-inch digging bucket and the hydraulic thumb. So with that, let's talk about a few of the features on here. I'm going to take you off the tripod. We'll do a quick overview of this machine. So you do have the cylinder guard, which is very nice, much like the Yanmars. And then on the track, so probably the biggest issue you would generally see with this machine out there in the wild is a tendency for it to throw tracks. We've gone through and upgraded all of the rollers on here with Takeuchi 216. They're ribbed rollers, and 99% of track throwing issues have been resolved. It is still possible to do with a bigger machine on 9-inch tracks, so just be a little easy when you're turning and always try to keep both tracks moving to reduce the tendency of possibly throwing a track. Of course, if you do and you're familiar, this is the grease fitting. The cover will be put back on here, but removing that grease fitting is what's going to loosen up the tension and allow the track to be put back on. And then, of course, fill it back up with grease to pressurize and tighten the track. Generally don't expect anybody to have to do that. As far as opening the door, just talking about some of the features here. So the door will latch in the open position. To release that, you're going to press this button here. And inside we do have a nice cab, which is wonderful here in Colorado at higher elevation. It's going to keep you a little bit warmer when it gets cold out there. And as far as cooling, we don't have heater air conditioning in here, but it does have a side window that opens and a fan that'll blow a little bit of air on you. Fuel goes here. You've got sight glasses, so disregard on the digital display. There's a fuel gauge on there, but there's nothing hooked up to it. So you're just going to use your sight glasses here to determine when you're almost out of fuel. Definitely when the lower one starts getting low, you're going to want to make sure you add fuel, because obviously with mechanical injection, if you run it out of fuel, now you've got to bleed out the system as well. It's about a 5-gallon tank, takes just slightly over. And then on the other side, we have a similar sight glass, and that is for the hydraulic fill. And you can see the fill port, and there's a door on the side of the cab. Generally speaking, you're not going to have to mess with that. And some of the features, we've got the interlock for the hydraulics. So this is going to activate the hydraulics. It does have pilot controls, so the electro-hydraulic controls, nice, easy to use, especially for a sustained period of time. And let's see, other basic features, and we'll fire it up here in a moment and talk about operation. But you have a master power switch, so sideways is off, up or down is on. This is your key switch. It goes forward. And then one more momentary is going to be for the starter. When it's warm, it will start right up for you. And when it is cold, what I ask you to do is turn the key counterclockwise and hold it in that position. It's going to run the fuel pump, but most importantly, it will run the glow plug. So do that for 8 to 10 seconds, and then she will fire right up when it's cold. May chug and smoke just a little bit on a cold start, but she'll warm up very quickly. Give it a few minutes to warm up, and then you are good to go to work. All right, so back quick walk around on this machine. We do have the blade. It's 53 inches across. It does not hit, so it has wonderful interference fit. It's not going to make contact as you swing around. It does have a Yanmar 3T and V80 mechanical injection engine. So the same engine they put in the 2.6 ton John Deere, the 26G. So fantastic little engine. It's a workhorse. It's also extremely fuel efficient, which the Yanmars are known for. It does have counterbalance on here. You can see this is the cover that generally covers over the hydraulic port for pressurizing the tracks. It has very good tread on the tracks. As far as lights, you do have your floodlights up above. You do have another boom light. I'll show you the switches for those. If you are tying down, one side tie down on the blade, the other side you'll have a big hook on the chassis, a big hoop. So run the chain through there. And then one last feature we didn't discuss, it does have the swing boom, which is fantastic for when you want to swing the actual boom off of the house, just for better access depending on what it is you're digging. All right, so with that, let's jump in real quick, do a very brief overview. The machine is warm, so we're just gonna reach down. It will fire up. You have your throttle. Generally about 2/3 throttle is everything you're gonna need for most digging. This is for your blade. So down is going to basically drop the blade down, which the blade is currently behind us, which is perfect if you were doing digging because you're gonna want something to counterbalance that force. This is for your main floodlights. So this light switch here does the big lights. Of course, you've got good visibility here. You have a dome light. Drop the interlock bar. Now the hydraulics are activated. So on the left stick, this is going to move the stick. The right control, right joystick is going to move the boom. And of course, that's also right is going to uncurl, left is going to curl. And then we have two buttons up here. Those are going to activate your thumb. So the left button retracts. The right button is going to expand the grab. And then you do have a horn in case you need to get somebody's attention. And then push forward, swing the boom out, and back. Okay, so now we do have foot controls for moving the machine. And of course you can use the handles up here as well. So currently we're face backwards. And now if we push to the left, it's going to swing the house. You can see we clear the boom and the blade. And then down on the lever is going to drop the blade. And of course if you're running through a lot of loose material, these small tracks and any of these machines don't like the gravel. So it is not uncommon to have to clear the track out. So to do that, you're going to put the blade down on one side. And then go ahead and drop the boom. Use the bucket to uncurl. And what you have done now is essentially raise the track up off the ground. So if you have a lot of dirt, rock, sand in the tracks, you may need to do this using the blade and using the boom to raise the tracks up off the ground so that you can run them back and forth and clear anything out that may have gotten lodged inside all of the idlers. And that is your intro to the AGT. I think the only thing we didn't discuss is the other light switch over here, which is for the light that's up on the boom. And then this switch is going to basically change the control on the left joystick. Instead of swinging the house, it is now going to swing the boom. So So if we go ahead and put the boom back in the air, we have that switch depressed, and now when we swing left or right, we're actually swinging the boom and not rotating the house. So that's all. Enjoy the NT30. It's a great little machine. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.